It was the first qualifying session of 2026 today, and if I'm completely honest, I really enjoyed it. I thought, okay, that went better than I expected. Of course, the super clipping, huge issue. Like, it's not, the battery doesn't deploy the way that I think we'd like it to. I think initially, the power the cars get on corner exit is amazing, but of course they get to the end of the straight and they lose between like 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. It's terrible. Other than that, I do think these regs are really good. It is just the super clipping for me. Like, of course, early on, new regs are always going to have their own issues. I mean, the ground effect had the big issues with the porpoising at the start of the new regs. You can't expect it to be perfect straight up. And whilst this one's definitely got its bigger issues than the ground effects and the porpoising, I still think they're not as terrible as everyone seems to think they are, you know? To be honest, we were treated to quite a chaotic start in qualifying today and all. Obviously, Max had an early spin into turn 1. I'm assuming he locked his rear axles. I'm not sure if it was a mechanical issue or driver failure. It's the same situation as Stroll in Bahrain. During testing, it looked like a mechanical failure, but it could have been driver error. We just don't know yet with these new regs. Obviously, he's had his comments, he's had his words about the new regulations, so I think him having a crash on his, not even his first competitive lap of the new regulations, his first competitive corner of the new regulations, he ends up in the gravel and in the barriers, which sucks for Max. Probably doesn't strengthen his opinions on the new regulations at all. I think, what did he say when he crashed? I think he said something like, that was just fantastic. So that's the way it is. It does look like he hurt his hand in the crash. I'm not too sure. But it was mentioned on the broadcast that like he was still holding onto the steering wheel when he hit the barrier. So whilst we've got nothing on the injury right now, it does look like he hurt his hand. But I'm going to assume he's all okay because surely we'd have had something by now. Obviously, Max's crash brought out the red flag, and it gave Merck the opportunity to fix up Kimi's car and let Kimi have a really impressive comeback. Obviously, he had his crash in FP3, smashed the car up. Merck fixed it. I think they left a couple things out, and they didn't set it up all the way. But he still managed to pull off the P2, which shows, number one, how good of a driver Kimi is, but also how much of a rocket ship that Mercedes is, because it just fucking goes, doesn't it? So, yeah. Obviously, Merck, they got a front row lockout. It was a really impressive qualifying. Obviously, Russell on pole, Kimi in P2. They do seem miles ahead. It feels like, you know, what it was like between 2014 and 2020. It was just Merck's dominating and running away. I'm really glad for Kimi, though. Obviously, he's got a lot to learn from Russell. And going into the season, I'm going to assume he's going to be on it. And he's going to be challenging Russell as much as he can, getting up to pace. I do still think Russell will win the championship. I do still think Russell will be the better driver this season. But Kimi's only in his second year of Formula 1. And I assume, and I hope for his sake, he's going to be up there sooner or later. Losing both Cadillacs in Q1 wasn't a shock at all. But to be honest, I was impressed with their qualifying debut. Sure, okay. Out of all the cars that set a time, they were right at the back. If everyone set a time, I'm sure they would have been P21, P22. But they're not too badly off the pace. And they're a new team. It's going to be like a 10, 15 year project. It's going to be like Haas. Again, Haas, their first day, P20, P19 and P20? I expect the same thing with Cadillac. Obviously, Haas got a bit lucky in their first race, and they managed to get Grosjean finishing P6. I do have high hopes for Cadillac. It's got two drivers I rate very highly, and I do hope to see good things come from them in the future. Aston Martin actually got themselves some laps under the belt, which is amazing. Cool the season off. Fernando's winning the championship. He actually almost made it out of Q1, but unfortunately Alpine came along to ruin it all. And Colapinto knocked him out and got himself into Q2, which is okay for Alpine, but their car looks a bit... Obviously, they got the Mercedes power unit. It's just the aero and the chassis, I assume. Audi, I think they were very impressive today. They had a very strong debut. Obviously, Hülkenberg and Bortoleto both got themselves through to Q2. Hülkenberg ended up qualifying P11 in the end, and he just missed out on Q3. But Bortoleto got himself through to Q3, and unfortunately for him, he had a mechanical failure going into the pit lane. So, obviously, he didn't get to do a Q3 lap, but still, Audi getting both cars into Q2 and then getting one into Q3 is a very impressive debut as a brand. For me, today, I think Lindblad was the best driver on track today. Obviously, it's his first season in Formula 1. He's gotten himself into Q3 on his first session. He's almost out-qualified his teammate. He's just missed out. I think he's P9 in the end, wasn't he? So for me, yeah, Lindblad was the absolute best driver for me today, and I really do hope the race goes his way tomorrow morning. On the topic of Red Bull and driver debut, obviously Hadjar is not it's his Red Bull debut, but I do think Hadjar was really, really impressive today. He qualified P3. He was behind the 2-man. I hope for his sake that the second seat curse doesn't come in play. When he moved from V-Carb to Red Bull, I was worried he was going to get the Perez, the Gasly, the Albon, the Tsunoda treatment. But as of now, things are going good for him. They're going his way. And that's really good. I mean, he out-qualified Max on his qualifying debut, which is amazing. As a Ferrari fan, it was a really lackluster qualifying. I was expecting maybe a P3 and like a P4 to 5, but we ended up with a P4 and a P7. Good for Leclerc, not for Hamilton. Qualifying wasn't ideal. I know Leclerc said something about Ferrari expecting Mercedes to be 5 tenths ahead and not 8. I think McLaren had an okay qualifying day with Oscar in P5, Lando in P6. For now, I'm glad they are where they are and then not like... Normally, when we have new regulations come in, they like to drop off, didn't they? Like the 22 to early 23, they were one of the worst teams on the grid. So again, I'm happy that they didn't drop all the way back, and they are where they are now. The race tomorrow, I do think it will be a good race. I do think we're going to get treated. I don't think it's going to be a horrible race where Mercedes blast off into the distance and they win by 20 laps. Yes, they've got a rocket ship. Yes, they still will win by 5 to like 15 seconds. Don't get me wrong, they're going to win by quite a margin. But it's not going to be as big as we expect it to be, I hope. I don't think they're as quick as they seem compared to everyone else. Of course, that could all change tomorrow when people come back on this video and call me a stupid dickhead when fucking Russell and Antonelli win by 2 minutes. But for now, it's all right. Absolutely, they're going to win it. They can. If they have no reliability issues, I think reliability will definitely be a big player tomorrow. Russell's already on his second battery out of the 2 you're allocated for the season. So yes, reliability tomorrow will be a problem. I think Martin Brundle said something about like 8 DNFs from reliability, which you can definitely see. Obviously, I think personally to see how these regs are for overtaking and racing, having an outlier like Max at the back is exactly what we need. We get the genuine good idea of how the overtaking will be tomorrow. Obviously, I hope Max does fly forward. Not because I'm a Max fan, just because I want to know that these regs can overtake and you're not going to just be stuck behind a car in their dirty air like last season, you know? That is just my honest, genuine reaction to qualifying, how I think it went, what I'm glad about, what I'm upset about. With the new regs, I thought, why not? Why don't I just bring this video out? Because I don't do videos like this. I'd like to do videos like this more often. Again, I really enjoyed myself watching quali today, and I do think we're going to get treated this season. I don't think it's going to be a terrible season. Sure, super clipping, huge problem. I'll have a whole separate video on super clipping. I'm going to hold my hopes up high. As a neutral fan, for a racing perspective, sure, maybe I'm not going to hold my hopes up high for Ferrari. For now, as a neutral, I will hold my hopes up high for the race. For the racing, you know? Because we had a good qualifying. Hopefully we have a good race.